I was here earlier today, and the amount of things plugged up there is quite excessive. It makes the system go into a power overload. You need to do it in a better order by turning on the computer first, and then systematically throughout the night, turn on one thing, one after another. I can't believe you guys didn't know that. That's like basic technology stuff. You guys are so stupid. I'm an angry introvert, and I make people feel bad.
Hi, I don't like people because I'm smarter than most. I'm easily offended, so don't talk to me.
I was in the National Honor Society in high school. I did way too many after-school activities to force friendships with more like-minded people who also suck and don't really like me either. I graduated high school with honors, and then I went to a state school where I also graduated with honors. Now I'm working on a nonprofit organization that does the same thing as UNICEF, but it's so much better. We make so much more of a difference. I feel like I was born to fulfill a specific purpose, and I'm finally fulfilling it. Now I'm working towards running for Congress because I did student government in high school and I killed it. So I feel like I'll kill it in real government. I'm an angry introvert and I make people feel bad. I'm petitioning for a cause that I'm supporting. I stay up all night because I'm so concerned with this issue. It's that important. I'm an angry introvert and I make people feel bad. My dad is mean and has lots of rules. I decided not to rebel because I'm not strong or independent. I don't know what alcohol tastes like. I went to college and majored in engineering because I felt like my dad would be mad if I majored in anything else. My only imperfection is I have one fake tooth, which may or may not be because my dad is so mean. I'm an angry introvert and I make people feel bad. I'm from another country. I don't understand sarcasm. My only jokes are facts. I went to medical school, so nothing's funny here. People bleed and die, did you know that? I only hang out with people with the same religion as myself. I'm an angry introvert, and I make people feel bad. My only friends growing up were teachers, because they were who I looked up to. I would stand by them at recess and say things like, "Hey, it looks like there's only 5 more minutes of recess left. Should we round them all up and head to the teacher's room and just chat over coffee for an extra 5 minutes?" I kept getting promotions at my part-time job, so I just stayed there. Now I'm working towards becoming a police officer so I can secure my dominance and yell at people, even though I never had dominance to begin with. I am an angry introvert and I make people feel bad. I'm an important public figure. I make jokes that studies show most people like, and I use the language of today to seem like I'm hip and cool with the time. Don't talk to me though, because I'm cold and I can't feel love. I'm an angry introvert, and I make people feel bad.
The angry introvert is a pervasive species that has been harming society since 1902. If you see or know someone who may exhibit characteristics of an angry introvert, please contact your local community health organization so they may be rehabilitated and released back into the wild. This has been your friendly PSA about angry introverts.
So I was very much forced into volunteering at church. Every Sunday, someone would come up to me and be like, "Hey, when are you getting involved? You should get involved. You're from Satan if you're not getting involved. You're a monster." So usually I would come up with an excuse like, "I can't. I throw up every day at noon." Or, "I have to go home every 2 hours to feed my alligator, or he gets out and kills 4 people." But I eventually got tired of talking to people about this at Connect time, so I'm like, fine. I'll teach Sunday school to 1st through 3rd graders because they're mean, and I can encourage kids I think might be gay to embrace that. So I have to teach them Bible lessons, but they also give me a bunch of really stupid games. Here's an example of a game that went over poorly the other week. It was like reading a scenario and having the kids react to it. So it was like, your sister stole your lunch. How are you going to react, aside from starving? And then they would have to like give a facial expression, but they eventually got bored. So I started another activity. I gave them paper and colored pencils, and I'm like, hey, draw something scary. You know, like a psychiatrist would do to like a tormented soul. I probably shouldn't have let them have red colored pencils, but I allowed it. And the pictures that came about were so dark and disturbing. You would think like a complete psychopath drew them. Like, they were usually just like disproportionate Halloween creatures. One kid drew his mom, but most kids like drew humans with detached limbs bleeding all over the place. And this was all discovered during sharing time. And then one kid was like, this is a dark and desolate wasteland. No one has lived here in years. Food does not exist, and blood is raining from the sky. And then one kid with like a really lame picture said, that dark and desolate wasteland is scary, and she just started crying. And nothing could be more boring than watching a kid cry. But also, one kid came up and said, hey, is that kid crying a boy or a girl? And I said, I don't know, the gender's fluid. And then she yells, I'm a girl, and cries even more. So this whole situation is uncomfortable, so we ditch her and go play an entirely different game. And meanwhile, I'm getting rid of all of the evidence of all these graphic photos, so I wouldn't be held liable. Then my replacement shows up, and I'm like, hey, that girl's crying over there, can you go deal with that? Meanwhile, the kids over here aren't even playing a game. I didn't even give them something to do, so they're just standing around, just talking about shirts. So my replacement shows up, and then he talks to the kid's mom who's crying, and then she's like, yeah, we actually don't introduce her to those kinds of things. Guys, they introduce evil to a child. When I left that day, she was still crying. To this day, she probably still is.